it has evolved into what is now today my company called Leader Transformed, and Ken is my business partner. And it is a company where we basically do exactly what Mikey and Phil said, is we take people's results or their goals they have, and we expand their awareness of what's actually possible. Because oftentimes we set goals that are, hey, I want to do this in 5 years. Well, what if you could do it in 6 months? What if you could do it in 2 months? Right? And we show you and teach you the tools to actually be able to execute that. Because it's not a matter of what it is you're trying to do. It's simply how aware of what you need to do to get that done, and how flexible are you able to be to actually achieve that. And so that's what we do, that's what we teach. Our program is called PowerShift. And yeah, we teach a lot of modalities in that. We teach a lot of communication, because it is I think it's the single most important thing everybody needs to have and should have, is how well can you not only communicate with yourself, but how well can you communicate with other people, because it will blow your mind and literally expand every opportunity you ever thought was possible. It'll 10x it instantly the second you can actually understand how you communicate with yourself to more effectively communicate with other people. So that's a little bit about me. Ken?
I'm Ken Adams. My background is in language. So I was taking a master's degree in foreign language teaching. There was a lot of linguistics in there. I also designed curriculum for a decade. And then I started taking these trainings. Sunne and I actually met in the trainings, is where we met, where you learn epic levels of influence, right? Like where you can look at people in a room and you can basically know what they're feeling, what they're thinking, and how the conversation is going all at once. And then also decoding their language as they talk to you. Because, I mean, how would you like, is anybody single in here?
It's not bad, guys.
It's just single people, right? How would you like it if, just for an example, right? This is outside of business, right? We'll talk business here in a second. But you're on a date and you're kind of wondering, like, I wonder how this is gonna go, right? You're like, are they gonna like me? Like, is it going well? I wonder what they're thinking, or maybe you're saying, how do I get out of it? Right? That could happen too. What if you could decode their language, first of all? Where just by how they're talking, you could immediately be like, no, or yes, that's great. Or also help you know what to say. What if you could see their body language, right? And you could decode their body language, be like, hey, we're having a good time today, right? Or it's not going well, and that's fine, because I want out, right? So you can do that. Dating is a great example because it's easy to understand. When you get into business, when you get into leadership roles, when you get into actually influencing other people and having those conversations, that skill becomes amplified. And actually, I'm married, I have 4 kids. They're basically all toddlers. So the oldest is 6 and the youngest is 1. So at one point we had a 1, 2, and a 3-year-old. That was fun. They're the ones I practice on all the time. So I go home, right? And I don't know if you've ever tried to convince a toddler to go to sleep. You ever done that? That is the toughest negotiation on the planet. And so every night I was just learning how to do that with my kids, because I was like, I'm gonna put this in practice. Until now we have like a system where they walk upstairs by themselves, get in their bed, go to sleep, and they're happy about it. Pretty cool, right? So you can start to learn how to influence other people in your business like this as well. Now, I've used metaphors that are not business, right? Because they're easy to understand. So I want you to imagine for a moment, right? Let yourself imagine, because you can and you should. I want you to imagine what would be in the next, I don't know, year, right? Let's start with the year. The most incredible goal that you could accomplish. What would that look like? What would that sound like? What would that feel like for you? Who would be there? What would you be doing? How would you know that you actually accomplished it? Right? Let yourself really imagine that. first of all, can you let yourself? Are you letting yourself? Yeah, let yourself. How do you feel when you think about that? Is it worth it? Is it worth doing? Of course it is, right? Because you're worth it. And now the thing is, what you just did is you communicated to your mind. You communicated to your mind right now what you want. And your mind now has it logged and timestamped. Isn't that cool? So some of the things we're trained on is hypnosis. That was a mini hypnosis activity for you just now, just so you know. So that memory now that you've encoded is in the future and timestamped for 1 year. And since you let yourself really see it and hear it and feel it and be part of it, now it's there in your future, right? You're gonna be thinking about it. So what we do is we help you learn how to develop habits at the subconscious level that will give you success. We help you learn how to install goals at the subconscious level that you can't help but do. Does that make sense? Have you ever had a habit where it's like, I want to lose weight, right? Or I want to break this habit or whatever. Or I want to wake up earlier is a good one. Or I want to get to the gym, right? Those kind of habits. Have you ever had those habits that you can't quite like get yourself to do it without a lot of like yelling at yourself in your head? You know what I mean? Where it's like, get up, and your body's like, no, right? It's like, the thing is, your mind, like your unconscious mind and the things you think about consciously are not aligned. They don't agree. That's why the goals don't happen. It's because you have to fight yourself all day. And so what we do in the trainings is we mend that mentally, because 95% of what you do, and you'll know it when I say it, you don't even think about it throughout the day. Your habits are set in stone. 95% of what you do. You get 5% of your day to think. That's it, right? So why not change your habits to the most successful habits and have everything be more automatic, so that you're only doing what will bring you toward your goals and your goals toward you. And the other 5% of the day, you get to think about how you're going to spend all your money that's coming in, right? Yeah, that's a pretty good situation. Do you want to add to that, Sunny?
I do. So, who here has ever thought about their goals in this format before? I'm curious. To that level of detail, where you know the exact moment you know you've reached it. You know you have that thing. Yeah. Okay.
I went through the training, so yeah.
There's massive power in this, because what this does is, as you envision and you connect those dots for yourself of where you're going and what you're going to accomplish. Okay, at the unconscious level, your subconscious mind, you are creating the map and the pathway to actually go and execute it. Because oftentimes, how often have you set a goal and said, "This is my goal. I want to do." Let's take money. I want to do $1 million in revenue this year, and I don't know how. Who's ever said that before? What if you actually did know how, but the piece you're missing is the clarity of exactly what it's going to look like, feel like, taste like, smell like, the exact outfit you're going to be wearing, the feeling you're going to have, right? When you know all those things, it allows your mind to then actually go to work for you and create the opportunities to achieve that. Because going from where we are today to where we're trying to get is simply your ability to see the opportunities in front of you and execute on them, right? Like every single interaction we have, everything we do is an opportunity. And it's really comes down to, what are we doing individually with each of those opportunities that we have in front of us every single day that will take us that much closer to where we're going, right? Because I can tell you from 5 years ago to where I am today, it wasn't about knowing how to get to where I am today. It was simply being aware of where I was and where I was going and getting ultra clear on exactly what that was going to look like feel like, taste like, smell like, what I was going to be wearing, to know that I had arrived at that very thing. And as soon as I said that, everything came into line. Like, Leader Transformed came about because I had this vision, right? I knew exactly what it needed to be, and Kenny showed up. Had no idea that he was going to be my business partner. And my goal of my company, we will be international by 2024. He speaks multiple languages, fluent in multiple languages, and how to build a program in foreign languages, which is naturally a piece that I need to take a company international. And when we do this, right, the resources show up, right? Like, if you look at all the people in this room, you all are a resource to each other, whether you know each other or not, whether this is the first time you've met, whether you guys hang out outside of here, like, you guys are all a resource to each other, but it's, have you considered each other as a resource? And are you considering everybody around you as the resource, right? Because I don't know any of you guys, and I know for a fact I could help every single one of you because of the resources that I have available to me. Yeah, and it's not a matter of me actually being the person to help you, but I have resources available to me. You guys have resources available that will help me, help Kenny, right? Like, we all have resources. Everything we do is an opportunity to advance ourselves and advance those around us, right? Because one of the things that I'm super big on is every interaction and everything we do is a win-win. Has to be. If we are unecological in anything we do, if we're having a conversation with somebody and we are only considering what's in our best interest and not looking at the grand scheme of things of how can I truly help this person in front of me? Like, what's my opportunity here? We're actually not gonna be as successful as we wanna be, because it's gotta be a win-win, right? If we have a win-win mentality when we're communicating with people, when we're looking at these opportunities, it's reciprocated back, and it's contagious. People want to be around that, right? Like, Mike is a great example. He's contagious. If you, the name, like, I was talking to you just the other day, and you bring up Mikey. I was referring to him as Michael, and he didn't know who I was talking about. And as soon as we connected the dots with Mikey, it was like, yes, it's him, right? Like, he has a contagion, he's contagious anywhere he goes because he's high energy. But anybody that knows Mikey knows he's got a win-win mentality for everybody, not only for himself, but for everybody else. And it starts because he has it within himself. Yeah, if we want to get these things, if we want to go somewhere and we want to accomplish these things, it's like a giant mirror. Life is a giant mirror. It's all feedback. And when something is not going the way we want it to, look in the mirror and realize that choices you're making right now are bringing this thing in front of you, whatever it is. It could be, you've set a goal a month from now and you're not even, 2 days away from the date the goal is supposed to be had. You're not there, right? You're not even close to it. It could be somebody reacting a certain way to you, right? Like, it could be you driving down the freeway and somebody drives by and flips you off. How are you a cause for that? What's going on inside you that is inducing that type of behavior out of people? Right? Have you ever considered that? This is some of the stuff we teach. This is powerful, powerful stuff. Like, this idea of the mirror and life is all feedback. I can literally tell you that from where you are right now to where you are trying to get, you're probably one decision away. And it's simply, it's different for every person, but it's one decision that you need to make. Because who here is trying to reach a goal? Yes, that's what I wanted to say. I'm going to share something with you. Do you tell yourself, I'm trying to reach this goal? Do you guys say that? I'm trying to do this thing, I'm trying to get there? When we say we're trying to do something, we've already presupposed it's not happening.
You've also said it's a trial.
It's a trial. I can fail at this. I can go 90% of the way and not hit the 100%. Trying is not doing. Just go and do. Trying is literally a presupposition to not hit the very thing you're trying to hit, not achieve the very thing you're trying to achieve. Because you're telling your unconscious mind that, hey guys, we're gonna go attempt this, but hey, it's cool, we may not get it. No, that is not okay. We hit stuff, we do stuff. If we say we're gonna do it, it's not a matter of I'm gonna try to do this thing. It's I'm here, I'm doing this. Right? When I took the business that I'm in, when I took it from 300,000 to 2 million a month, it was a choice. It was literally I'm here, we're doing this. And then I started asking questions. Who do I need to become to achieve this? What are the resources I'm missing that I don't have? What are the things that I need to consider that I've never considered before, that when I consider them will allow me to unlock this thing instantly? Right? Like these are the types of questions that create the result. But it starts with shifting your words, your language from I'm trying to do this thing to just decide and go do it. Right? Because if we're trying, are we actually doing? Like, think about that. Linguistically, in language, if we say I'm trying to do this thing, are we actually doing the thing? Logically, it doesn't make sense, right? If we're trying, we're not actually doing. We're telling ourselves that, yes, I'm gonna try this, but we've already said in the back of our mind, it's not happening. We're already checked out.
So I'll pose this question. What is a goal? Like, what is it? How would you define it? It's an interesting question, right? What is it?
Oh, it's a measurable destination that you plan on reaching.
Okay, where does the goal exist? How do you know you have a goal?
Is that reciprocal?
No,
Sorry.
no. How do you know when you have a goal? How do you know when?
You know how it tastes, how it smells, how it feels. You've already preconceived in your head what it looks like.
Great. So the location you said is where? In your head. You said in your head, right?
Mm-hmm.
So goals, they're actually just something that's in your mind, right? It's actually not real. And I can prove that. Does anybody have a goal I can hold? Can you give me your goal? I can hold it? No. It's imaginary. Right? It's not real. So what is a goal? If you can accomplish a goal, how did you actually do that if it's imaginary? Create it. Got it. It's an action. A goal is actually an action. It doesn't exist except for your actions that you take. Yeah? So Mikey was talking about how he has this goal of $50 million in 2 years. And then we said, why not in a year? And he's like, oh, I guess that could work. And we're like, why not 6 months?
We stopped at 6 months.
I saw the pulse on his neck go.
You should have heard him tonight, though. He was like, Mikey's like, why not now? It's just like,
It's true though, because the reason why, okay, it sounds absolutely crazy, right? If I say, why not do your goal now? Why not accomplish it right now? It sounds crazy, but it makes sense to the unconscious mind. Because it's not a thing, it's an action. Your goal is an action. So people say, they'll tell me, I want to make money. And I'm like, then why are you talking to me? Right? It's like, why are we having this conversation if you want to make money? Because if you wanted to make money, you'd be doing it right now. Talking to me isn't making you money. Are you selling me on something? They're like, no, I need help. It's like, so you don't want to make money right now. What you want is help. That's okay. What do you want help doing? I want help, so I want to make money. Great, now we're going somewhere, right? These are processes that we don't even pay attention to in the mind. We don't even know they're going on subconsciously. We have enough experience now of spotting people where they don't realize what's going on, but we can help bring it to their attention and their focus. And I'm gonna tell a story of this concept that, and by the way, Sunne, phenomenal person to work with, phenomenal leader. Everybody that's ever worked for him loves him. Like, they don't even want to find another job. If they could get paid more, the only reason they have to leave is that their family grows and they need more money or something, you know?
We to that point, we actually, for the last 2 years, in my business, we actually have the lowest turnover in the entire state of Utah.
Which is amazing, because right now, turnover, do you guys have employees? Do they kind of revolve in and out?
All the time.
This guy, he knows how to keep them there. And it's this concept of the mirror. It's, if they're revolving in and out from you, you say, what am I not committed to me about? Why am I not committed to the work? You fix that, they'll stay. Is that true?
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely.
one of the clients that came to me, she came to me because she was totally depressed and stuck and felt like she had opportunities but no access to them. I don't know if you ever felt that way. Yeah, some people feel that way. And we started talking, and she wanted to make more money. She wanted to increase her income. She wasn't making anything really. And she had all these problems like, oh, my dad is keeping me from, because her dad owned a business that she basically could run, but he was controlling everything. A lot of turnover, right? He was controlling everything. He was on top of everyone's backs and everything. And she took a break from the business. She stepped away. She said, I need to step away. So when we're talking, she doesn't have an income. She's in school, doesn't have a work visa in the United States, so she can't get a job, right? So she has very few options, if any, of what to do. And it came up about business, and actually it was in dating. We were talking about dating. And it came up about her dad. And we resolved all this past negative emotion and limiting decisions about her dad. 3 months later, her dad retires from the business, puts her in as the business owner, and now her business has 300% more profit. So she's in charge. And I went to her office just the other day to check it out, to see how she was doing. After I left, we had another conversation, right? Because usually when you have a conversation with me or Sunne, we're gonna push your boundaries. It will always happen.
I'll share a story in just a second about Mikey.
And
I've been trying not to cut in this whole time, guys, but freaking goodness. It's you guys already know. It's good to have that person in your life that says, you keep saying you want to do this, why aren't you doing it? You keep saying you know you're made for this, but then you're letting other people tell you what you can and can't do.
it's more like I look at you and I say, you don't want to do this yet.
And then you just kind of sit there and you're like,
How do you know?
oh. And then they help you find out why, get rid of it, and then 10x your goal.
You can have that perception for employees and people you work around too. You can see, so Sunne does this all the time with his employees. They'll come in, he'll know immediately, we need to talk. Like that. Just looks at him.
Language, body language, all of it is imperative when you are leading and influence other people, because somebody's demeanor when they show up in front of you says it all, literally.
So going back to the store.
Yes, go back to
finish.
I'll finish.
So we have this conversation, I leave, and then Sunny and I went to get lunch with her.
Yes, we
And
did.
she told us this story. I left, and not long after I left, she got a phone call from a random person in California and was saying, I want to know if I could franchise your business, right? Now, the nature of her business is that she's part of a franchise, so she couldn't franchise to him. And she told this to some of her employees. One of her employees was like, why aren't you trying to buy the business so that you can franchise? She's like, I never considered that. Now, this is normally someone wouldn't consider it because they wouldn't think it's possible, right? Now her mindset's changed. And she goes, maybe I will. She called the owner of the business, and now she's in negotiations to buy the business, the whole one. So now she can franchise to other people. How sweet is that? Going from broke to owning a whole franchise. Like, not a franchise, but the business that owns the franchise. That's pretty sweet, right? And all it was, she said a key phrase, right? She said, I just see everything as opportunities now. Super simple. Because when you think about your goals, has anyone ever felt like your goals depend on other people?
That used to
Do
be
you
mine.
believe that? It's okay if you believe that. You believe that. The reality is, when you actually get into influence, you learn that your goals do not depend on anybody else. They depend on you. And they depend on your ability to do what Sunny was talking about. Look in the mirror of who you are as a person and make minute changes in you, which then has a ripple effect, right? How did someone know randomly from California to call her right after we had a conversation about expanding her goals? Pretty weird, right? What you might not know about the unconscious mind is that it's interconnected with everyone in the world. So you might have a thought that comes in your head. Have you ever said this, like, somebody should do this, like a business idea, right? This is literally how Leader Transform started, right? Somebody should make a leadership company that helps people reprogram their minds at the subconscious level so they could have instant success all the time and take their whole team with them. The question is, what if that was a collective thought from a large group of people? For you to do it, right? It's not, wouldn't it be nice if someone else did it? And you shift your mind, you're like, I'm gonna do it. It's my thing. Yeah? You don't know that it wasn't a group of thoughts from other people coming your direction, which is a huge opportunity. How many of you are good at listening to your thoughts or paying attention to that? Being really aware of what's coming in and reacting to it. Yeah. Practice, right? Very powerful.
So that actually is how Leader Transform came about. I had that very thought. And the thought was, I see this, I was doing it, and I'm thinking to myself, gosh, there's gotta be a company that does this. There's gotta be somebody who does this, right? That teaches this at this level. Because I've done multiple leadership trainings, gone through multiple courses. Like I've done a lot of stuff, and I walked out of all of them and I got good information, but the results weren't sustainable. I, through my training and putting myself through it, have now and have created for multiple years sustainable results. And I'm thinking, okay, somebody's got to do this. Like, and I started thinking to myself, and then it just, the light switch, right? That thought that you're like, oh my gosh. I was like, why not me? Why don't I do this? And instantly, Leader Transform was born. And it has progressed from there. Yeah, and oftentimes it's the very thing that we've never considered before, that when we consider it, will allow us to unlock everything that we want to, almost instantly. And I mean almost, like, if not instantly, almost instantly. Like, I've had conversations with, have you ever thought to yourself, I need to call this person, and within minutes, that person calls you? We are all connected. Okay, the thoughts we have, the inspiration we have, is the universe connecting with us collectively of people's thoughts, because you're a resource that can advance this very thing that you're thinking about that somebody should be doing. That somebody is you. It's the world's way of saying, hey, Mikey, go do this. Right? Consider the very thing you've never considered. You see a market here. You see an opportunity here to create something that can benefit people. Why not you? Go do the very thing. Be that person. Who do you need to become to do it? right? Who here believes you're capable of doing anything? Anything.
Shiz, we got a cool group.
Massively powerful. Now take that, because if you could do anything and be anything, are you actually doing it? Right? We all know we can, but are we doing it? There's a difference between knowing and doing. A lot of people know they can do a lot of things. Are you doing those things? Are you going out every single day, and are you achieving that very thing? Because it's a choice. You get to decide.
And I'd add, how easy is it for you to do the things?
Whoever, like, the first person to run a 4-minute mile, right? Nobody ever thought that was possible. Well, it took somebody not considering what everyone else was considering the fact that, hey, this is my goal and I want to do it. I want to run a 4-minute mile. And as soon as they ran a 4-minute mile, now you have people running faster than that, right? We as humans just have to, it's all there. And as soon as one person unlocks the potential of what's truly possible, all of a sudden it opens everybody's minds and opens everybody's awareness to all of a sudden anything's possible. If somebody can run a 4-minute mile, shoot, I could run a 355. I could run a 350, right? Like all of a sudden people, the goals begin to change. The idea of what's possible begins to change. Mike and I were having, do you remember our conversation the other night?
That's every word.
Okay.
Forward and back.
So I want you to share with the group. He called, right? We're talking, and it wasn't about. It actually we weren't. But this is the power of language. He started talking to me, and I'm listening to him. I'm listening to him in my right ear, and in my left ear, I'm hearing the limiting decisions. I'm hearing the words he's saying. And I cut him off about halfway through our conversation, and the conversation dramatically changed. So I want you to share that I want you to share what you took from that conversation the other day, because this is very, very powerful in understanding language about yourself, how you speak, to then actually create what you want to create. So,
yeah.
Share.
I want to give you just a little bit of backstory, guys. I started, so everything they're saying I'm totally connecting with, because I've actually been finally seeing what they're talking about. Because, and it's not, I mean, how many of you have heard something tonight that you thought, that's a little like, I don't know, a little advanced for me, it's a little out of this world sounding. Anything? I'm getting like some like people going like this. All right. Well, here's the thing.
Easy stuff.
I'm telling you what, this is the stuff that it's like, this is intro, and I'm sitting here like, bro, you're next level. So for me, the thing was, same thing they were saying, they came up with Leadership Transform because they started thinking, man, somebody should do that. That was the whole reason Phil and I made the charge. We realized we were like, man, if somebody could actually connect you to pre-made businesses for guys who don't know how to start a business. Well, here's 30 people that have already done this one. It's pre-ready for you. Well, what if I have a business, but I just don't know how to grow it? What if we have connections where we can get you to marketing, where we can get you to funding, whatever you need? And, well, what about the people? I never know how to meet these people. We can connect you. What if we could connect you to somebody who's been in this country, had 10 million, $100 million exits, and they can just help you through it? We were like, everyone, because everybody comes to us saying, I want to do entrepreneurship, but I just don't know where to start. And so it's like, we kept thinking, man, if somebody would do that. And the thing is, as soon as you actually start taking the actions and the doing your goals to actually get it going, you meet the right people who are going to show you how to do it. So these guys come in and they helped me actually get my goals to the point where it's like, I'm doing them and they're actually the right size to fit that goal. Sometimes you think with a goal, you got to start small. Sometimes you got to get it big enough that it actually becomes possible. Because the thing is, now that I've actually made this goal, 50 million, and it was 6 months, in the last, how long ago was the training?
September, so it was
a month.
3.5 weeks ago.
Okay, less than a month. I have 2 opportunities that could make me 100 million by the end of the year, and 1 that can make me 50. And the reason I found those was because when it became real and I knew what it was going to smell like, feel like, taste like, be, and I actually went through the training of helping my subconscious connect to it, all the resistance is gone. You wake up in the morning and it's not like you look at your planner and you go, ugh. You just get to work. And the other thing is you cut out, I think this is the biggest thing for me, it cuts out all the stuff that would hold you back. You guys all say, oh, I can do anything. I want to make this money. And then you go to your day job. We started talking with people because we go in, well, if we're going to do this in 6 months or a year, we can only talk to people that can actually help us do that. And we can only work on projects that can actually make us that much money. So like, I was talking with Sunne because I was in Florida setting up another salon, and I was like, man, like, I just don't have the time to do like these things and like go do this and that, or like I don't have maybe the money to do this big thing that I really want to do. And he's just like, okay, like, you gotta stop. Because it was like, everything I'm saying is just like, what happened to the I believe I can do anything? You know what I mean? It's like, literally, especially with what we can agree on with communication, if you can communicate and persuade properly, you can have any resource you need. You can convince the richest guy in the world to work with you, right? So you get all the money you need. You can get the team of people behind you. You can get whatever you need going. Like, persuasion is number one, but the first thing starts with you. And so it's like, as soon as he helped me notice all these things, I finally let my brain agree with what I was already telling myself. You guys are probably already telling yourselves what you need to be doing and what your skills are and how they fit together and what you want to do with them. But until you actually talk with someone who helps you actually recognize what you're thinking and notice those thoughts, you're not actually going to connect that you're like, oh wait, I already know everything I need to know to do what I'm trying to do. Because we sit here all day and we try and come up with, what's the thing I need to learn so that I can do this? What's the thing I need to get so I can do this? Where do I need to go so I can do this? You're already there. You're already there. And the funny part is you all know it. And if you don't know it, it's because you're pushing yourself into steps that you think you need to get there when you don't need to go through that step. When did you decide it needs to be hard? This is the biggest thing that they helped me notice. I have a superhero complex. That's what I'm calling it anyway. I always think that, I mean, you guys watch the movies. How many of you love Iron Man? Like, come on. Like, freaking, guys, he's hot. Tony. I mean, I'm straight, but like, it's Tony. Just kidding, you get my point. I have a superhero complex where I think I have to go through this super hard trial to get the big reward. And as soon as I talked to them, they were like, when did you decide it needs to be hard? And I was just like, well, it seemed like it was hard for Tony. So it's like, you start to notice, you're like, oh shoot. And it sounds stupid to say, hey, just go straight to the reward. But I'm gonna be real. The thing is, when it's a win-win, it's not just reward, it's reward for everybody. And as soon as you know, and you've seen the goal, and you've recognized that you are aligned with that goal, your skills, your plans, what you have, what you need is already here, and then you know exactly where you're going, like they said, your brain will naturally organize. It does it, guys. It already knows what you need. It's called the subconscious because you don't know what the freak is in there, but everything's in there. And it is connected to everything. And I swear it works with sleep too. And if you read Why We Sleep, you'll get it. But point is you get that final line where that finish line that you need to cross. And once you know exactly what it's like, your brain is gonna go, all right, let's make a path to it. And you're gonna wake up the next day and the day after, and as you continue to go towards it and become the person that you need to be to get there, you're actually gonna create the path. And you're gonna recognize the kind of person you can't be if you're gonna be there. I can't be talking to people who aren't gonna actually help me. I can't be not giving value to everyone around me because the one person that I give value to that actually has the path that's gonna get me there needs to feel that I'm giving them value. So I'm sitting here just giving value to everybody as hard as I can. And so that's the point of kind of tonight. But anyway, that's the conversation we had was very much along the lines of, hey, I can't be doing this time. I can't be doing, this money. I can't be out in Florida because I can't get all this stuff done and I can't. And it was like, just from talking about it, he was like, we got to the point where I realized I was like, I totally can do this. All I need is just rearrange my resources, make sure I have someone else do it. And even if I come out here, I can keep working on the stuff that's more important, that's actually gonna bring in the more money or the more opportunities or create the value. And it was like, we just went through and it's like, oh, you totally can do that. I've just been doing it the way that the old me would have done it. And I didn't take a second to think about all the thoughts that I was telling him and recognizing that I'd already figured out the path.
You had the solution all along.
You were saying I can't, but you should have been asking, how couldn't I not? You need to ask that question first before you say I can't. You say, how couldn't I not?
How can they not? Guys, as soon as you get to that point that they were talking about, like the lady with the business where she's saying everything's opportunities, once you get rid of the word problem and everything becomes the opportunity, it's so funny. The thing that you think is holding you back now becomes, you're like, wait, what if that was how I get there? 9 times out of freaking 10.
It's true.
I mean, you guys probably already know that, but anyway.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
I had a question for you guys. Does anybody feel a little stuck right now? They wouldn't mind having a conversation? Yeah? You got these guys. Okay, I'm thinking of a number. I'm going to test your unconscious mind between 1 and 20. What you got?
16.
I was thinking 17, so you come up.
I said 16.
Did you say 16?
Yeah.
Okay, you said 14? You come up. Yeah.
We're testing your conscious mind. I'm just kidding.
That was just me to get a reaction.
Oh, okay. I was what happened.
Okay, tell me what's up. What are you stuck with?
So I'm building a course right now for people like to help get them through breakups, and I've done 3 sales calls on it, but like no one has bought it yet, and I don't know if I would buy it totally.
So what are you conflicted about? The offer. What are you conflicted about?
So there's 2 things. I think that the confliction is kind of how much it actually helps people, because like I probably get so I do it through TikTok, and I've been building a website through that, and I have probably like 100 people a day tell me that like it helps like crazy and that it's awesome, but then I have one person like every week tell me like you're just trying to steal people's money based on their pain, and like part of me believes that and I hate it.
What's the percentage of the part of you that believes that?
When they say that, like all of it.
Well, I mean, like going out normal in the day, right? That you're
Probably like
doing
20.
your work 20%. Okay. And how often do those comments come?
From them,
Yeah,
like once a week.
once a week.
Yeah.
So about 20% of your week.
Yeah.
Interesting. So going about your day, 20% of the time you're feeling like, I feel conflicted, maybe it's not helpful. And then also it shows up, right? So how do you know when to feel like it doesn't work?
What do you mean?
Exactly what I said. How do you know when to feel like it doesn't work? You said you get a comment, right? And
Yeah.
then what happens? How do you know when to feel like that?
I guess I go off with a comment. I just like kind of lay in my bed and play guitar for a while.
Yeah. So before you lay in your bed and play guitar, how do you know? You read the comment. How do you know to let that comment in?
How do I know to do it?
Yeah. I'm curious.
I don't really know what
Teach
that
me.
means.
Let's say I'm going to do it for you. Okay?
Okay.
I'm going to be the one that reads the comment that's negative and get all butthurt.
Okay.
Teach me how to do it.
Okay. So I sit there, I'm on my phone.
Yeah.
I get a comment or like an email.
No. So don't say I, say you, because you're teaching.
Oh, you.
Me, right?
Okay, yeah.
I'm a temp, by the way, and I might not be very good.
Okay.
Okay,
I'll be
you
really.
just-
I'll be descriptive.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm sitting. You're sitting there.
So standing up, right?
Okay. You're standing up.
Am I standing or am I
You
sitting?
usually sitting.
It wasn't laying down.
You're usually sitting first. You lay down after.
Okay.
Legit.
All right. After
Legs
I
are
lay
good.
down.
Good
Okay,
for
what was
us.
I doing?
You're sitting first.
I'm sitting.
You're on your phone looking
Oh,
at
I'm
TikTok.
on my phone.
Yep.
Okay. On my phone.
Yeah.
On Instagram.
You're on TikTok.
TikTok.
Yeah.
Let's go. Let's go.
Okay. And then you read one that says this advice is toxic. You're preying on people's weaknesses. You should never.
And
do
then the
this.
song from Britney Spears comes in my head. Don't you know that I'm toxic? That's how it goes, right? Okay. Teach me.
If anyone else in the audience had that same reaction, is that correct, or is like? Just
I'm
curious.
sorry. I'm really bad at doing
Okay.
work for other people, but you just teach
So,
me.
so after that, you kind of just lay down and you're like, I tried to do this to help. You tried to do this to help people. It doesn't seem to be helping people. You should just not do it anymore. Find something else
okay.
to do.
So normally when I get a comment like that, or someone says you suck at whatever it is, I actually get a little excited. So do I get excited before I have those thoughts, or do I like, how do I feel going into it? Am I like, sweet, that's exciting. Someone's giving me actual feedback. I can learn from and talk to. Or is it like, what'd you say again? I can't remember.
I don't think you know how to apply it because
I don't want you to forget how it works. So sorry to interrupt. I don't want you to forget.
You're good. You want me to tell you again what they said?
Yeah, what was it again?
So they say that your advice is toxic, it's not helping anybody, it's preying on people who are in a painful place. And you don't really know
so
how to use that as feedback.
So how do I know to feel bad about that? I struggle feeling bad.
I wish I struggled feeling bad.
I don't know how to do it very well. So you gotta tell me.
Okay.
Like I kind of like enjoy everything.
Yeah.
So how do I do that? How do I make sure I feel bad?
Okay. Well, your main goal is to help people, like going through this. So if you feel like your direct goal by feedback from people you're trying to help is the opposite of that, you feel like you're not doing the right thing.
But why do I gotta care what they say?
I don't know. You do though.
Well, I can't do it if you don't tell me. How do I know that I need to care about what they're saying? How do I know that?
Sometimes
Let it be the first thing comes to you.
you think that like other people are gonna read that and they're gonna think that way too.
Okay, how's that a problem? Like, what if they do? I get more attention. More people coming to my course. Yeah? How's it a problem? You gotta tell me how it's a problem, or else I can't do the problem.
Okay.
I don't want you to forget the problem either. I mean, you're starting to forget.
You're right.
Don't forget, alright? Tell me how's it a problem.
I guess it's kind of like if it's not perfectly helping every single person.
Oh, perfectly.
Yeah.
I don't do perfect. No. I don't know.
That's good.
I can try. I'll try.
Okay.
It just hasn't worked out for me before. So, but I'll try. Because I know you work really hard on doing it perfect, but I'll try.
Okay.
Is that good enough?
No.
Why not?
It doesn't.
Why do
doesn't
I have
feel
to be
good.
perfect at it?
Well, I know you can't be.
So, but why do I have to be? If I can.
I don't know. Because there's not a reason.
Just cause? Where did you? I mean, you gotta tell me. Like, who did I listen to in my life that made me want to believe like that? That way, I can make a picture of these people that talk to me.
Yeah. Like maybe your dad, but mostly you.
Maybe my dad.
Maybe.
Okay, so I'm gonna think it's probably that.
Okay.
Okay, so what was my dad say? So I really internalized, I can't be perfect, but I have to be. Right? Like, how do I do that? What do I have to say to myself?
To feel like you have to be perfect.
Yeah, what's like that belief? Why do I gotta do that?
I don't really know. I just know you don't feel good enough unless it is.
If you were to know, what would it be? Just hypothetically, if you were to know what it was, what would it be?
What would happen if I'm not?
When did you decide
really
that you
know.
had to be perfect?
Kind of forever.
If you were to know, what age were you?
Probably like 6. I don't know. Probably when memories start.
Do you know what was going on or any context?
I think a little bit.
Here we go.
So I think it started in wrestling when I was really little. That when I was really little, I won like every single match for like 2 years, and I lost one, and then quit forever.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, here's what Okay, so I'm gonna do this. I gotta think of wrestling. Right. Okay. I wrestled too.
You did?
But you know what? I was undefeated. But I wrestled 2 girls. So I gotta go back to these wrestling days, right? Okay, and I lost once. I'm like, okay, I lost once. And then I quit. I would laugh at myself if I did that. That's just hilarious. I mean,
It
think
is
about
pretty
it. Like,
funny.
if you think about like, I mean, I grew up playing baseball. Yeah? You get out more than you get on. right? If I struck out 4 times one game and quit, that'd just be ridiculous, right? In fact, I was watching my daughter. There was like this. I live in a rural community with livestock and animals, and it was a chase. They were chasing a sheep or a goat or something, and they had to like get dollars that were pinned to it. And all these kids sprinted and they ran and they were going so fast. And my daughter saw them all running and going fast, and she just sat down. Didn't even play. What's life if not to play, right? Why do we take it so seriously? How do I take it more seriously? So I got to think of this time. Why did that matter that I lost? Why did that matter?
It doesn't now. Like,
You're right.
yeah,
It doesn't. What does matter?
that I was trying and like when it was fun.
You were what? Trying?
Okay.
Spit that word out.
It came out. That was a regurgitation.
I just learned that right now.
Yeah. What matters?
Doing it because like I enjoy it.
Yeah. Why do you pick up your guitar?
Because it's really fun.
Let that sink in. Right? You were getting the feedback of what the solution was. So what do you believe is the solution for this? How can you change it? How can you view it differently? What's the alteration of your perception?
I could do it because it's really fun to meet people from around the world and help them, and not try to be perfect.
Yeah. Yeah. Because play isn't perfect. Right? How do you learn a guitar? Gotta mess up 1,000 times, a million times, right? I come from a background actually of learning foreign languages, like what Sunne said. I know 4 of them. And by the time I learned the 4th one, I just would walk up to people, and it was Spanish, so it was my 4th one actually. And I just started having conversations. And I'm like, yeah, I sound like an idiot, I know. But this is how I learn. This is how it's fun. And this is how we have connection. And you know what? No one actually made fun of me. And if they did make fun of me, they weren't really wanting to hurt my feelings. One time my mother-in-law, who speaks Spanish, my wife is Mexican, my mother-in-law speaks only Spanish exclusively. She bought a new blender, yeah? And at the same time I was at the house, and she made this macaroni and cheese. And she gave me this macaroni and cheese, but she was using the blender, and she said, "Do you like my new blender?" She said in Spanish. And I said, "Yes, I love mac and cheese." Right? Like, these are interesting situations. The most embarrassing one, this one was funny, actually. I just laugh about it all the time. I was having a conversation in Ukrainian, it's another language I speak. It's cool. And I was talking about a book and saying that it was the climax of the book is this. Well, if you just say climax in Ukrainian, it means something different. And I just so happen to be talking
Nothing
to a
like
woman,
that, you
right?
sick people. Just kidding.
I just so happen to be talking to a woman, right? So I'm like, let's talk about the climax, right? Hey, this is moving a little fast. So
Take me to dinner first.
but you know that I'm toxic, right? So it's interesting, right? When we think about life, what is the difference between work and play? How do you know when to work and how do you know when to play?
One of them's fun
How do you know when to have it be fun?
when you've worked enough.
How do you know when you've worked enough?
Oh crap.
Tired.
You're tired. So is your play initiated by being tired?
That would suck. I don't think it is. I was just trying to answer questions.
I had to figure that out.
Yeah.
What if play was initiated by play?
Okay.
What would that look like for you?
Be awesome.
How would that look like for your course? And selling it, advertising it, marketing it, talking to people.
Yeah, I'd be more happy to offer it to them
Yeah,
because like everyone likes play.
they love play,
Yeah.
right? There's actually, it's really hard to say where's the line between work and play other than just how we feel about activity. One takes energy, one gives energy. That's really the only difference. When you're working, you feel like energy is expelled out of you. Okay? Now let's talk about that psychologically. The reason why that happens is because you're conflicted. Now, what we've done through this process is we've removed conflict. And now you can view it as play. Every time you're playing, you're focused, you're in flow. Flow state happens with play. You can't play without flow state. That's the only thing. So even just picking up a board game a little bit or playing your guitar before you get online rather than after could change your mentality into the whole process. Because you put the focus in the right direction. Yeah? You have questions for me?
How do I remember all this stuff?
You do. You've forgotten the problem. You've remembered the solution.
Okay.
Yeah? It's pretty simple. So something about the unconscious mind is that compared to the conscious mind, it's super powerful. It's like a super quantum computer. So the conscious mind can only process 126 bits of information per second. That comes from Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who was an author on flow theory. He also analyzed the unconscious mind, and I always get this number wrong because it's so mathematically humongous, but it's something like, what is it, 27 million bits of information
it's
to the
27 million bits
per second. Per second. Yeah? So this is where the unconscious mind is much more powerful. Right? This is why 95% of your day is totally governed by the unconscious mind. It's because it's more powerful. So all you gotta do is, like, instead of trying to pull the elephant, right? Give the elephant the right instructions. And then it pulls you. Right? You just hop on and it takes you where you wanna go. So how do you feel about this? What are you gonna do different now in the future? Let's say it's tomorrow, you wake up and you do this again, right?
Yeah, I've got another one tomorrow.
What's gonna be different?
I'm not gonna offer it as like a perfect solution to their problems.
What are you gonna offer it as?
Something
Instead?
that they can enjoy.
Nice. Because who enjoys it now?
Me.
That's right. The only reason there was that conflict with people is because they felt there was part of you that didn't fully enjoy it.
Yeah, that's really true.
When you fully enjoy it, it's gonna be so easy to sell. Because the only reason someone's not selling something is because they're not totally sold themselves on what they're selling. As soon as they're totally sold, easy. Yeah. Hey, can we clap?
How do I keep doing this? Like if I get in a rut in the future?
Come to training.
Okay.
I'll show you all the tools. We'll show you all the tools. Yeah, we have. We've been doing this. I mean, this probably seemed like, what is going on, right?
It's always weird in front of an audience.
In front of an audience, right? But it probably was a little bit like, what happened, right? It's you can learn all these tools.
There's a method and a process for everybody that just watched that. Yeah. Okay. Did anybody was anybody like what's happening right now? Like what's going on? Right? Like there's a process behind what Kenny just did to induce what we got. Did you guys? I'm curious. Did anybody recognize when he realized what the actual problem was? Did you guys see that? There was a visual and aesthetic change in his demeanor instantly when it came to his mind of what it actually was. Yeah, this is the power that you each individually have, right? If you're not achieving what you want to be achieving, it's you. Step out of yourself and realize what it is you're doing and where you're incongruent with something. And as soon as you get congruent, it happens just like that. It shows up. You begin to progress towards that. Yeah, this is something that we all have that we take for granted and we don't understand. A lot of people don't, right? That's what we teach. That's what we do with Leader Transform. We teach people how to utilize the resources you have available because you all have the resources that you need. You are the resource. It's you. You have to decide to know that you are. And as soon as you decide you are, everything and anything is possible. Instantly.
Did you notice how it was all just a reflection of what was going on inside? Like Sunny says, it's a mirror.
It's a giant mirror. Life is a giant mirror. Every single thing that takes place in life, if you were on your way here and got a flat tire, there's a purpose for it. Right? There is something going on inside you in your life somewhere that created you to have a flat tire. Yeah, everything, and I mean literally everything in life is feedback. It all shows up through choices and decisions we make, through our mindset, through how we show up in the world. Show up better for yourself, pay attention to yourself, and you change your life, literally. Any questions?
Well, guys, and let me point out really quick, like he uses the tire example because it's extreme, because it makes you think, I don't know. It legit is that way. These guys, you would not believe how much science is behind this. Not that science means everything, but I'm just pointing out, this is stuff that's real stuff. It works, and it is the craziest thing because, guys, every time I get on and talk with Sunny, I get on a call, and he'll be like, he'll hear it in my voice, and he'll hear where I'm doubting, and then he just starts asking about life. Because he knows he's going to find what's incongruent with it. These guys, I mean, I just want to freak you all out for a second, but it's like, anyway, we took this course and it was like, they started pointing out, and I don't know if you guys want to get into this or not, but you probably don't, but it's like, if you guys want to do the training, you absolutely should. I'm going back and finishing the rest of the training. But the point is, they had guys that it was like, and this, it sounds so funny until you actually see it in real life, but they had guys where it was like, they had a guy who was managing somebody who kept showing up 15 minutes late, like every day. No matter what they tried, could not figure it out. And so they talked with him, they're like, hey, what's going on? And they're like, well, can you find a spot in your life, the manager's life, where you're consistently late? And this is the part where I was like, oh shoot, I get it. The guy was like, oh my gosh, I'm always late dropping off my kid to school. And so they were like, change that, see what happens. They changed it immediately. Like within a week, the guy was never late again. And they've been trying everything to get him going.
So
But
it's
the
my
thing,
boss's fault that I'm late all the time.
Good excuse.
it's all your boss's fault. That was the point of this all.
But you might have things late in your life you might want to repair.
But the thing is this, the ultimate key here is that you recognize that legitimately, you literally have the power to change everything in your life. When you change that thing, the things around you will change. It's part of the subconscious stuff, and you showing up and doing it differently, they will do it differently. The people around you will react. We had a part where we went over kind of self-hypnosis and things and learning how to make that just ease of doing things. We had Clint. Clint's this guy, great guy, business owner, killing it. He has the hardest time keeping his kids' rooms clean. And so we had this example, and I would not have believed this if I didn't see it, but it was like I saw it. This guy goes, okay, wait, I want to try this tonight. And Ken's just like, all right, like, what do you want to do? And he was like, I want my kids to clean their rooms. And he was like, okay, like just, he was like, use, the model we showed you. He's like, go home, tell your kids a bedtime story. And he was like, and just, he continually uses the word clean for all these things and like helps him do this stuff. He goes in, he's like telling them the weirdest story ever. He's like, the clean leaves in the forest and like all the way down to the clean roots and just like silliest thing ever. But he follows the model, and then so he had 4 kids go to go to bed, but one of them was like, I want to go upstairs after, I want to go sleep in my bed. And he's like, that's fine, like just fall asleep when you want. Like 3 of them fall asleep. The kid's like, I want to go upstairs. Like, okay, I'll meet you up there. Goes upstairs to tuck him in. He's just like, buddy, what are you doing? And he was just like sitting there cleaning his room, and he was just like, I don't know. And then he just like puts him to bed. Clint comes to the thing the next day, whatever, or he had a business thing. I think he didn't come in that day. Goes home. His girls had been deep cleaning for 4 hours. Nobody asked them to do it. They just jump in and do it. And this is when I started doing it for myself, where it was like I'd have days where I was like, man, I really don't want to do this. I'd use some of the stuff to help tap into the subconscious, which again, it really just takes over. And it's like, I made it so that I wanted to do the things that I wanted to do that day. All the resistance was gone. And it was just like our talk kind of here. Once you actually figure out what's actually going on and you can change the focus and actually see the answer that's right in front of you and then use a process to actually implement it, Like, it's freaking insane. But anyway, that's the stuff that I was just like, okay, that freaked me out. Like, and the other thing is they help you go through like timeline therapy. Has anybody ever heard of timeline therapy?
Hey, nice. That one.
I cried. I didn't think I'd cry. I was literally sitting there crying, being like, I shouldn't be crying right now. I don't even know what's going on. Bawled for like a straight, he wasn't there, luckily. But it was like, bawled for like a straight minute, had no idea what was going on, but it was like, it's real stuff. It works. It's really cool. But anyway, hang around guys like this. Guys, we try and bring guys in like this so that you guys can actually get some real experiences, get some change, get some more insight into what's actually out there. See if it's for you, and if it is, chase it down. But anyway, any other questions for these guys? They're done. Give it up for Sunny and Ken.